Okay, what if I told you that the secret to a happier, healthier relationship wasn't in some self-help book, but was actually hidden in a mathematical strategy from the Cold War? It sounds a little crazy, but stick with me because it's absolutely fascinating.
I mean, that's a pretty wild statement, right? But be honest, does part of it sound just a little bit familiar? That feeling of being stuck on a merry-go-round, having the exact same fight over and over and over again. It's so frustrating. And it turns out there's a name for the dynamic that keeps us all trapped there. And that dynamic is what we can call the unwinnable argument. You know the one. It's that conflict that just never, ever seems to get resolved. And it always ends with both of you feeling totally unheard and misunderstood.
At the very heart of this problem is something called bad switching. Think about it. It's that exact moment in a fight where you stop listening to actually understand your partner and you start listening for your chance to jump in and make your own point. Your brain literally flips a switch from us mode to me mode. And once you're both doing that, well, you're just talking at each other. That's the cycle we need to break.
So how on earth do we break that cycle? Well, this is where it gets really interesting, because the answer comes from the last place you'd ever think to look, the high-stakes strategic world of the Cold War.
I know, it sounds pretty extreme, but the tension in a relationship, that balance between cooperating and protecting yourself, it actually has this incredible parallel to the kind of strategic thinking that governed the Cold War. It's all a game of trust, risk, and trying to predict your opponent's next move, or, in this case, your partner's.
The perfect model for this, the thing that really gets to the heart of it, is a famous thought experiment from game theory. It's called the prisoner's dilemma.
Let's frame it this way. In any argument, you really have two choices, right? You can cooperate, meaning you listen, or you can defect and just argue your side. Now, the best possible outcome for the relationship is if you both cooperate. But to do that, you have to trust them. You have to trust that when you're being open and vulnerable, they won't use that as a chance to attack.
So here's the classic definition. You've got two people, and they can either cooperate with each other or betray each other. The dilemma is that even though cooperating gives both of them a pretty good result, the fear of being betrayed is so strong that it pushes both of them to betray the other person first. And the result? They both end up with a worse outcome. Sound familiar? Okay, this little table maps it out perfectly. Look, if you both cooperate, you both listen, you land in that top left box. That's a good mutual outcome. But nobody, and I mean nobody, wants to end up in that top right box, the sucker's payoff, where you listen vulnerably and they just argue at you. So, to protect yourself, you defect first. But of course, they're thinking the exact same thing. So what happens? You both defect, and you both land in that bottom right box, a bad mutual outcome. That is the engine of bad switching.
So if logic seems to push us into this terrible outcome, how do we get out? Is there a way to escape the dilemma? Yes, you need a strategy. One that is designed to build trust over time.
So what is that strategy? Well, computer scientists ran simulations of this dilemma for years, pitting hundreds of strategies against each other. And one incredibly simple strategy consistently won. It's called tit for tat, and its genius is its power to encourage cooperation over the long run. The whole thing is built on just 4 simple ideas. Number 1, be nice. That means you always start by cooperating. Number 2, be retaliatory. Now, this doesn't mean be mean. It means if your partner defects, you defect right back. It's about showing that there are consequences for not cooperating. Third, and this is crucial, be forgiving. The second they go back to cooperating, you forgive them instantly, no grudges. And finally, number 4, be clear. Your pattern has to be so simple that your partner can easily figure out the rules of the game. So, how do we take these 4 rules and turn them into something you can actually use? Well, you can package them into a really simple, memorable approach for any relationship. Let's call it being nice and provocable. Okay, so here's the playbook. You always start a conversation by assuming the best and being ready to listen. You're nice. But, and here's the provocable part, if your partner starts that bad switching thing, you immediately mirror them, not by getting louder, but by calmly standing your ground. You don't let yourself get steamrolled. Then, the absolute instant they soften up and come back to a cooperative place, you forgive and meet them there. Over time, this teaches a really simple lesson. Cooperation gets rewarded with cooperation. It is the most rational, logical path back to that good mutual outcome. And all of this leaves us with one last big thought. We tend to think of love and logic as total opposites. But what if they aren't? What if a clear, rational, predictable strategy of fairness is actually the most powerful way to build trust and intimacy? What if being strategically kind is, in the end, the most romantic gesture of all?